We feel that defense wins championships, and we're excited to go. We feel like we're built to win now as well as in the future.
Listen, man, I consider you a friend of mine, Nico Harrison. I consider you a friend of mine. I wish you nothing but the best. I thought you did a good job last year with the Mavs, and obviously whatever happened this year didn't work out. Man, don't do no more press conferences. Like, I don't even know what you're doing. I really don't. Like, I got sympathy and love for you, but I have zero idea what you're trying to do. This war is over, brother. You taking the L. I hope you keep your job. I hope that team get healthy, but man, don't do any more interviews. Please don't.
And I quote, "I didn't know he was that important to the fan base." This is a general manager of a team who traded away the second most popular player in Mavs franchise history, but I quote, "I didn't know he was that popular with the fans." Boozer. Why?
The Dallas Mavericks are a franchise with a storied history and a passionate fan base. At one point, the Mavs stood at the top of the basketball world. The rise wasn't a fluke. It was a result of a champion, molded by pain, loyalty, and years of relentless struggle, fueled by one man's pursuit of greatness, Dirk Nowitzki, a 7-foot German kid who was booed on draft night. Laughed at for his awkward jumper and questioned for sticking with a franchise that couldn't get over the hump.
MVP, Dwayne Wade.
But he stayed through playoff collapses, through roster changes. With every reason to walk away, Dirk stood tall. And finally, in 2011, it all paid off. The Mavericks defeated the Miami Heat super team in 6 games. Dirk wasn't just the finals MVP, he was a symbol of loyalty and excellence. But legends don't play forever, and in 2019, Dirk walked away from the game with no one to pass the torch to. His jersey would hang in the rafters. For Dallas Maverick fans, it felt like a part of their heart was ripped away as he walked out the door. Entering his last season, the Mavs were back to square one, searching what happens now? Who will be the next face of the franchise? Who's going to carry the torch Dirk left behind? The front office had an answer. Luka wasn't Dirk, but he didn't have to be. He'd already be a star before his rookie season ended. The Don became an overnight sensation. Rookie of the year, All-NBA by year 2. He's a kind of generational talent most franchises wait decades for. Although despite his individual brilliance, the team struggled to find consistent success. But nonetheless, the Mavs had their new face of the franchise for years to come. However, a face alone doesn't win championships. The talent is there. The will is there. The moments of greatness, unforgettable. Luka was ready, but the team around him, not so much. It became clear the team's reliance on Luka's heroics became too much, and the need of a co-star was evident. Dallas would make the playoffs in Luka's second and third season, but failed to advance past the first round. So in 2019, they'd make a bold move, trading for Kristaps Porzingis from the New York Knicks. The duo of Luka and Kristaps was envisioned as the future. However, due to injuries and occasional inconsistent performances, Porzingis' tenure was tormented. Dallas would lose their patience and trade him to the Washington Wizards in 2022. Porzingis will go on to revitalize his career with the Wizards, and a few years later, emerged as a pivotal force for the Boston Celtics. He will go on to make his debut in the 2024 NBA Finals, delivering a standout performance in Game 1. While coming off the bench in just 21 minutes, he dropped 20 points, snagged 6 rebounds, and swatted 3 shots. That would also be his first game back in over a month, all against the franchise that gave up on him. A statement game, delivered on the biggest stage. Porzingis didn't just show up, he dominated. He anchored the paint, stretched the floor, and silenced every doubt Dallas had about him. And by the time the confetti fell, he was a champion. Not as a role player, but as a difference maker. Boston saw it, and they gave him what Dallas never did: a home and $90 million worth of trust. Porzingis wasn't the only talent Dallas would give up too soon. After parting ways with him, Dallas faced another pivotal decision while on the hunt to find Luka's next running mate. But the answer was sitting right there on their own bench. Intentionally, Jalen Brunson was a complementary piece to Luka. However, Brunson's role elevated dramatically during the 2022 playoffs, with Luka being sidelined due to injury. Brunson would hold down the fort and step up, delivering breakout performances, including at the point of time his career high, 41 points against the Utah Jazz, while also leading the team in scoring 4 out of the 6 games that series, showcasing his potential as more than just a second option, even having the ability to carry the load when Luka's out or off his game. Coming off that playoff run, it'd be a contract year for Brunson, and he had every intention to stay. Despite his rising trajectory, contract negotiations between Brunson and the Mavs fiddled. Brunson was reportedly open to 4 years, $56 million for an extension, but Dallas delayed their offer until the trade deadline, signaling hesitation. And feeling undervalued, Brunson entered free agency with an open mind, and with his father now being a part of the New York staff, the Knicks would quickly become more than just a possibility. Brunson will go on to sign a 4-year, $104 million contract with the New York Knicks.
To make sure you can give that guy $25 million a year, you just got to do it.
He's not. They're gonna put pressure on this kid. This signing, this circumstance, the way it went down, is gonna put pressure on Jalen Brunson that he does not deserve. It's gonna try to make something of him that he is not.
And they had no clue it'd be the peak of everything they ever hoped for. In New York, Brunson flourished. During the 2024 playoffs, without Julius Randle, he'd lead the Knicks to the second round with a franchise playoff record, 47 points and 10 assists, and a dub over the 76ers. His performances emphasized his capability as a primary playmaker and scorer. He wasn't Luka's sidekick anymore, he was a leader. Eventually, the Knicks followed suit, parting ways with Randle, handing Brunson the keys for good. Once given the reins, in the following season he'd rank 8th in points per game of eligible players across the entire league, beating out guys like Steph Curry, Devin Booker, and even LeBron James. In recent years up to this point, a pattern has emerged, series of decisions that left fans questioning the direction of the team. And in an attempt to bolster their roster, the Mavs traded for Kyrie Irving during the 2022-2023 season. However, the team struggled to find chemistry, and despite being 1 game over 500, holding the 6th seed with a 36-35 record on March 19th, they suffered a late season collapse, going 2 for 9 in their last 11, finishing 38-44, missing the playoffs entirely. The defense regressed significantly after losing key wing player Dorian Finney-Smith in the trade, leading to the 24th ranked defensive rating by the end of the season. That following year, the Mavs regrouped, and what started as a team surrounded by doubt slowly morphed into a squad that believed. Game after game, series after series, Luka didn't just carry the Mavs. He imposed his will on every series, delivering one of the most electrifying postseason performances in recent memory, averaging 29, 9, and 9, dragging the Mavs all the way to the 2024 NBA Finals. However, the momentum wouldn't carry over. In fourth quarters, he'd fade. Just 8 points on 3 of 15 shooting through the first 3 games. And in Game 3, he'd foul out with 4 minutes left. Jalen Brown was locked in, holding him to 41% shooting and choking the Mavs offense. Luka's defense will become more of a glaring issue with the defensive rating of 104.7 over the series. The Celtics' strategy of targeting him led to efficient scoring opportunities and highlighted his defensive vulnerabilities. They hunted him. Despite his offensive contributions, defense was a significant factor in the Mavs losing 4-1. Nonetheless, his story doesn't end here. He's only 25. He's also coming off the best playoff run of his career, torching elite defenses, carrying the Mavs to the biggest stage in basketball. Now with a full offseason, a retooled roster, and lessons only heartbreaks could teach, the 2024-25 season isn't just a reset, it's a redemption season, or at least it was supposed to be. Unfortunately, Luka would only appear in 22 games out of the 55, and despite a roster featuring Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, and PJ Washington, they failed to make a significant impact. At the time, holding the 8th seed, being 26-23, and what came next would alter the course of history forever.
Let's go back to the night that you were traded.
Okay, Luka Dončić for Anthony Davis. The 25-year-old Dončić arrived in Los Angeles last night and met with...
This is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
But when I watched the Mavericks' Nico Harrison make the Luka
trade, I'm told that the Mavericks actually approached the Lakers and offered Luka Dončić.
Where the Dallas Mavericks have Luka goddamn Dončić, and they traded for Anthony Davis.
In a move that sent shockwaves through the NBA, Dallas Mavericks general manager Nico Harrison firmly defended the debatable trade that sent the franchise cornerstone piece Luka Dončić to the Los Angeles Lakers. Addressing the media, he emphasized that the acquisition of Anthony Davis, a player known for his defensive prowess, would add to the culture. Harrison articulated his vision, saying, "I believe that defense wins championships. I believe that getting an all-defensive center and an all-NBA player with a defensive mindset gives us a better chance. We're built to win now and in the future." The trade sparked outrage amongst fans, and many protesting and calling for Harrison's dismissal. Banners were flown, jerseys were burned, and the trust between the front office and the fan base seemed all but shattered. After Luka was traded, the foundation cracked, but the real collapse didn't even begin. Quentin Grimes, he was supposed to be a part of the next chapter. Young, skilled, and even some two-way potential. But just 48 hours after Luka was shipped to LA, the Mavs offloaded Grimes to the 76ers for Caleb Martin and a second-round pick, a move that barely even made headlines at the time. And what followed that? Grimes would flourish in Philly, averaging over 22 points a game, nearly 40% from three, and became a focal point of the offense for the Sixers while they were missing their big three. Meanwhile in Dallas, chaos. Anthony Davis, the centerpiece of the Luka trade, missed over 30 games with a lingering groin injury. A month later, Kyrie went down tearing his ACL, and multiple role players would fall like dominoes. There were nights where the Mavs only had 8 active players warming up. This wasn't mismanagement, it was malpractice. They went from finals contenders to a team barely even recognizable. Broken rotations, no leadership, and a front office scrambling for answers. Grimes could have been the spark they needed. The Mavericks' decision over the past few seasons, trading away key players like Porzingis and Brunson, the unsuccessful acquisition of Irving, and the controversial trade of Luka, have left the franchise in a state of disorder. While Dallas searched for greatness and let it slip away, the Chicago Bulls once held it, and everything changed. But what would it be like if they never found that greatness? Click this video to see what would happen if Michael Jordan never exists.